Hang on, guys. I've almost got it. All right, here we go. Happy Monday! It's starting to become my favorite day of the week. Welcome to Common Ground Storytime Live on Mondays. I'm your host, LJ Tennell, and tonight I get to read to you some of the books I've read the most. So, some of you moms and dads out there in Common Ground world might know a YouTube actor by the name of Blippi. Now, Blippi has a song for every construction vehicle there is. And if you haven't heard them, look them up. They're very catchy. My kids certainly have, which means we own many, many trucks that have actually slept in my bed, like this one. This one slept in my bed for a very long time and will now be joining us for many, many truck stories that we had to buy because my daughter could not get enough of them, and now my son loves them as well. So we're going to start, even though Little Blue Truck is the first in the series, I'm going to start with Little Blue Truck Leads the Way because I think my mom and dad picked this one up for us. And it's sweet and it's fun and it's a perfect beginning to our evening. So I'm showing you them both because you're going to want the whole set. And there's a couple more after this. But I'm going to start with the one that means the most to me. Little Blue Truck Leads the Way. Horn went beep, engine purred. Friendliest sounds you've ever heard. We always count the skunks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Little Blue Truck rolled into the city. Beep, beep, beep. Isn't it pretty? Towering buildings scraped the sky. Beep, said Blue. The city is high. There he is, way down there. Zoom, roared trucks down the avenue. The city is fast, says Little Blue. Shove on, Shorty, yelled a double-decker bus with big red letters. Rides are us. I think that's the first words that Juliet actually knew how to read, which makes me laugh because she always goes, R-I-D-E-S, rides. A grocery truck gave his horn a blast. Move it, boy, I'm first, you're last. Everyone's so angry, gosh. Woo, woo, went a siren coming through. Busy police car, things to do. Swish, swash, swoosh, went the big street sweeper hollering, hey, better move, little beeper. Make way, yelled the limousine, the longest car you've ever seen. I've got His Honor the Mayor inside. I'm important. Move aside. Cars and trucks were all in a tangle. Everyone started to shout and wrangle. Up roared a taxi. Screech went the brakes. Stop, yelled Blue, for goodness sakes. You might be fast and I might be slow, but one at a time is the way to go. Me first, said the limousine, all puffed with pride. Then he gave up and his engine died. He was stuck right there with the mayor inside. Beep, said Blue, would you like a ride? Everybody watching gave a shout when the door swung open and the mayor stepped out. His Honor climbed right up on Blue and gave a speech the way mayors do. My friends, he said, what wonderful luck, this good advice from a little blue truck. One at a time is what we'll do, so single file, folks, follow Blue. Trucks and buses got in line with vans and taxis, and it all went fine. A taxi let a van go past. The double-decker bus said, I'll go last. Good for you, Rides Are Us. A marching band joined in the big parade, and boom with the drums and the trumpets played. They rolled along the avenue, and everyone waved to Little Blue. They clapped their hands and yelled, "Hooray!" for the little blue truck who led the way. The end. Say bye-bye, little blue truck. See, that one just makes me so happy, and it's so sweet. And Little Blue Truck is a lot the same, so let's see. What do we got next? Oh, so this one comes from a very dear friend of mine named Sheila Sanford, and it's called Where Do Diggers Sleep at Night? Now, shout outs to Sheila. She has picked out so many wonderful truck themed things for my kids, but this one has stood the test of time. It's gone with us on many car rides into hotels and to the parents' house and grandparents' house, and we've read it a million times, and it's just withheld. It doesn't annoy me at all. It's just fun. It's sweet, and it gets them really calm for bedtime. So, where do diggers sleep at night? Where do diggers sleep at night? Do they dream of holes they dug? Do their moms reach front to backhoe when they give a goodnight hug? Where do dump trucks sleep at night after dumping dirt and rocks? Do they gather toys and dump them in a giant truck toy box? Where do garbage trucks sleep when they're done collecting trash? Do their dads sniff their load and say, "Pee-you, time to take a bath"? I still do that to my kids, and it's the nicest way to tell them that they absolutely need to take a bath. Where do monster trucks sleep when they've done a day of crushing? Do they find a giant puddle when their metal teeth need brushing? That's right, even monster trucks need to brush their teeth, you guys. Where do fire engines sleep when they've won their firefights? Do their flashing fire red beacons make for super bright night lights? Where do snowplows sleep at night when they've cleared the snow away? Do their moms say, "Get to sleep, boys, lots more snow is on the way"? Where do transporter trucks sleep when they've loaded up with cars? Do they tell those cars a story as they sleep beneath the stars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars sleeping on that carry truck. Trying to find you guys. There we go. Where do tow trucks sleep at night when they've reached their destination? Do they tuck each broken car into a cozy service station? Where do giant cranes sleep when they've lifted their last beams? Do their moms pick them up and rock them and wish them sweet truck dreams? Let's see if we can't get a little more light on this. There we go, you guys. Much better. Look at that. Now you can see that giant crane. Where do tractors sleep at night after plowing all day long? Do their dads sing Old Truck Donald for a barnyard bedtime song? Where do all these trucks sleep after rumbling down the road? Do they gather at a truck stop to rest their weary loads? Do they ask for one more story, one more kiss, and one more hug? Do they cuddle with their teddies under blankets soft and snug? Where do your trucks sleep at night when it's time to go to bed? They'll be waiting in your toy box when you wake, my sleepy head. See? Our next book is from my friend Eileen Ellis. Thank you, Eileen. One time I was at work and I came in and this was just sitting in my mailbox. She said, "I heard your child liked excavators." And yes, that is probably Juliet's favorite. Every time she sees an excavator on the road, she goes, "Oh, excavator!" It's like seeing a celebrity. So this one's really excellent. I recommend it to everyone. Good night, construction site. Down in the big construction site, the tough trucks work with all their might to build a building, make a road, to get the job done, load by load. Look at this guy's face. He's like, "Oh, yeah." The sun has set, the work is done. It's time for trucks to end their fun. So one by one they'll go to bed to yawn and rest their sleepy heads, then wake up to another day of rough and tough construction play. Kind of sounds like Common Ground kids. Working hard to help his team, Crane Truck raises one last beam. Reaching, stretching, lifting high, he swings the beam into the sky. He'll set it down right on his mark, then off to bed. It's almost dark. He slowly folds his boom back in, and then with one last sleepy grin, he tucks himself in nice and tight. Then cuddles up and says goodnight. Shh. Good night, Crane Truck. Good night. Spinning, churning all day long, Cement Mixer sings his whirly song. Now, he's weary and so dizzy from the fun that keeps him busy. With one last spin, he pours the load. He's ready now to leave the road. He takes a bath, gets shiny bright, pulls up his chute, turns off his light, cuts his engine, slows his drum, and dreams sweet dreams of twirly fun. Shh. Good night, Cement Mixer. Good night. This blanket's too small. Now, this is my favorite page because every time we read it, Juliet goes, Mommy, Daddy, Juliet, and Conrad. And she's done that since she was about 2, so a year in, and it's still cute. Dump truck loves to work and haul. He carries loads both big and small. He moves the dirt from place to place, then dumps it with a happy face. One final load spills on the heap. Crunch! Now dump truck's tired and wants to sleep. He lowers his bed, locks his gate, rests his wheels, it's getting late. He dims his lights, then shuts his doors, and soon his engine slows to snores. Shh. Good night, dump truck. Good night. Look, he's snoring, and somebody says, Hey, pipe down! Not very nice, though. Pushing with his mighty blade, Bulldozer works to smooth the grade. He clears the way to level ground and fills the air with thunderous sound. Roar! No one's as tough and strong as he, but now he's sleepy as can be. He puffs some smoke out of his stack, turns off his engine, stops his track. He curls onto his soft dirt bed and dreams of busy days ahead. Shh. Good night, Bulldozer. Good night. Scooping gravel, dirt, and sand, Excavator shapes the land. He digs and lifts throughout the day, but now it's time to end his play. A few more holes to dig, and soon he'll roll to bed beneath the moon. He twirls upon his bumpy track, pulls up his boom, stretches his back. He sets his scoop down on the ground and snuggles up without a sound. Shh. Good night, Excavator. Good night. Come on. If you want to listen, come on up. My kitty Snips wants to listen, but she's being shy. These big trucks, so tough and loud, they work so hard, so rough and proud. Tomorrow is another day. Another chance to work and play. Turn off your engines, stop your tracks, relax your wheels, your stacks and backs. No more huffing and puffing, team. It's time to rest your heads and dream. Construction site all tucked in tight. The day is done. Turn off the light. Great work today. Now, shh. Good night. Good night, good night. Construction. I love that one. It's so sweet. This one is from my friend Stuart, and it's a classic. It's called Mike Mulligan and His Steam Shovel. Now, just a quick aside. Every time I show you a book, I'm going to say who it's from, unless it's from me, unless I just spontaneously bought it, because I think it's so important and so beautiful that all my friends feel like they should give my children stories. apart from their influence and their love, that is probably the most important thing they can do. And I love every one of these, and I always remember who gives them to me. So thank you, Stuart. This one is beautiful, and I hope you like it too. Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that he could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week, but he had never been quite sure that this was true. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she grew old. Oh, she never grew old. Jeez. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so that trains could go through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for automobiles. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed the ground and filled in the holes to make the landing fields for the airplanes. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster they dug. Some days, they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away the dirt they had dug. Then, along came the new gasoline shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels and took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. Oh my goodness. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk or left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much as a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could, but he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day, Mike read in a newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We are going to dig the cellar of that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. "Go get 'em, guys. I believe in you." They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the cities where no one wanted them anymore, and they went way out into the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. When they got there, they found the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar of the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "that you are going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week." Though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So So he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike and Mary Ann. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon, a little boy came along. "Do you think you'll finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike. "If you stay and watch us. We always work faster and better if someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Aww. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. Look at that sun coming up, and there's Mary Ann. It's going to go faster, I hope. That gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and he told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman on his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day. And they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner, neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. There they go. There's that first corner. They're going to do it. Uh-oh. Clang, clang, clang. The fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and thought there was a fire. But the little boy said, "Why, don't you stay to watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner neat and square, but the sun was right at the top of the sky. There we go, 2 corners down, but half the day is gone. What are we going to do? Got to get more people. Now the girl who answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. And all the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug, but they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through when the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner neat and square. There they are. Look at all these people coming. They're coming from miles and miles around, hoping for a miracle, I think. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry," shouted the little boy. "There's not much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and the steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen. Bang, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Get him, Mary Ann. And suddenly, it was quiet. Slowly, the dirt settled down. The smoke and steam cleared away, and there was the cellar, all finished. 4 corners, neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day." Suddenly, the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get his steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out? Hi, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get out? How are you going to get the steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and the 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast and we've dug so well that we've quite forgotten to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do. Nothing like this had ever happened before in Popperville. Everyone started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his idea was the best. They talked and they talked and they talked and they argued and they argued and they fought and they till they were worn out, and no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "Wait, the job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." And he smiled again in a rather mean way. Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. He said, "Why, couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build a new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everyone was happy. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Every day, the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes him nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell, and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down into the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. The end. All right, guys, that's it for Monday Night Story Time tonight. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Tune in next week. We're going to have some great news stories for you. And I'm so, so happy again to have you here with us.